We were really just a collection of people working on our own different things. We were a lot of developers who each had their own projects going. When someone new came, we would give them their own giant project to work on, and they would sink or swim.
So when I started here, it was kind of Wild West sort of development style. We didn't really have a formal methodology.
Whenever I first started working on tickets, it was sort of like they would throw me a small bug that they thought I could handle, and then I would just work on that.
Look at this giant list of things and then pick one of those things. So the sort of prioritization was pretty much non-existent.
We were kind of just dealing with giant mountains of things that were being assigned to people.
And I had no idea what was going on with the tool in general.
So we needed a system to effectively manage that. And Scrum was what we ended up turning to.
And then in January of last year, when we started doing Scrum, it completely changed everything.
For me personally, Scrum has really changed the way that I think about my work.
The things I've really appreciated about Scrum is that it's given a lot of focus and direction to the whole process of developing. We've been able, our meetings are more focused. There's more team cohesion in working on the same things together.
It's really just sort of a process to help us figure out the things that are most important to us and our clients and how to build those things the quickest.
I know this sprint planning especially has just helped focus my efforts, helped me connect with my team, helped me know what everybody else is working on so that we can all be working in the same direction instead of all going our separate directions.
Scrum has been really helpful for our team just to be able to plan in advance. Just recently we sat out in the room here and whiteboarded out everything that we'll need to do for the 2016-3 data run, which was really helpful to do and which we've never done much of before other than waiting until a month before we need to release it, and then we'll sit down and say, hey, we should probably start thinking about the data run.
When the product team, when the engineering team, the career coach development team moved to the sprint model, they immediately became more focused, more goal focused. That it wasn't just, what am I doing today? I'm going to do what's in my inbox. It became, what are the goals that I have to meet this, to finish the sprint.
Like I said, when I first started working, it was like, well, what's a bug that you can handle? And it would be something that affected one customer or something that nobody that had been sitting in the backlog for a year. And so it was good to be working on things that I knew actually were adding value for the customer and helping them.
We actually have team meetings and we're organized as a team, so I think that's been the biggest difference. We actually work as a team now, and we work together to get things done. So we used to have knowledge silos within the team. This one person always did projects of nature X. Well now, if everyone's involved, then we can spread that knowledge around, and if that one person gets hit by a bus, we're not in as much trouble.
Scrum has really opened up a lot of communication within our own team and also between product leaders, product managers. I mean, that has changed the way we do our work completely.
It's given us clarity with regards to deadlines. When people say, can you get this done? We don't just say, yes, we'll do this today. We know what our workload is for today and tomorrow and for the rest of the week. And we can say, this is or is not feasible, and here's when we'll have it to you. And we can stick to that.
If we are focusing on a couple key things that will be really important to the customers, rather than all the great ideas that could happen. But if we're working just a little bit on each of these great ideas, then they're never actually going to happen.
The blessing to the rest of Emsi and the customer comes in the fact that we can now give a list of release dates because we know how long our issues take to complete. We know what we need to do for each data run. We have that all laid out.
Now that we're working on things as a team, we're collaborating on projects. It's not me going off and building some grand new thing, it's the team coming off and building it, which means it's going to be of much higher quality, much more stable, much better thought out. And we can, if we work together on things, we can do them faster generally. Surprise, surprise. So.
Well, I got here on the early end of, or the end of the way we did things before, 2 years ago.
Testing 2 years ago would have been, again, by hand. I would have sat down, I would have reviewed code that developers would have given me, I would have brought it up on my screen and clicked through it and tried it out.
And that slowed down the development process quite a bit, because not only could we not work on, we wouldn't just be able to work on new things and the exciting things, we'd also have to go back and do a lot of bug fixes. That would slow down progress overall.
I wouldn't say it was as high a quality, it certainly wasn't as consistent a quality, and it was a bottleneck. I could only do so much so fast, which ultimately would back up a lot of the work that our other developers were doing.
A lot more bugs got through.
So continuous integration, or CI, has been something we started doing more recently. It's been on our radar for a while as something we wanted to do. Never really had the bandwidth or impetus to do it until more recently.
Continuous integration, automated testing has been really huge.
And these tests basically simulate a rabid user clicking around Analyst as fast as they can and looking for problems.
Having automated tests catch that is really big, and getting people into that mindset. And it really helps us to onboard junior developers much faster.
This allowed for numerous checks.
Yes, I think of continuous integration not so much as a divide between hand testing and automated testing, so much as a process of making sure that all your code is roughly always at the same point, so you don't have all sorts of different features that are being worked on getting further and further out of sync with the main branch of the code.
Right now, we have the equivalent of 2 days of manual testing condensed into an automated process that can be completed in 30-ish minutes.
The ability that we have now to basically run a suite of tests against the entire Analyst code base, to go through from a user's perspective and click through, run reports at multiple area levels, for all of these different reports, and to do that with the click of a button and sit back and we can go home.
You know before you merge that code in that it will, in this case, compile and run, and that it will work like you expect it to.
Just the ability to make changes without fear that you're going to break the code base somewhere that you didn't expect.
There was one point at which I pushed a code change thinking that I just made a great improvement, and found out that I had broken zip codes entirely. Well, now the CI was in use, it would test itself, it would figure out that there was a problem, and I would get this immediate turnaround. It made everything faster and better.
The whole product is still solid, the whole product still has integrity. It's just really invaluable from our vantage point, wanting to release a quality product to customers.
And it would also mean that our customer, who would be the data production group, would not actually be seeing this broken code and then have to go through the amount of time of them reporting this bug and us tracking it down and figuring it out. So this continuous feedback really has improved, especially with the CI.
Cool. So we've been able to release more at a higher quality than we would have otherwise, and that's just been absolutely a lifesaver in terms of not only our productivity, but just peace of mind for us and especially for the QA side.
The reason customers should care is that we can now do a broad sweeping test of all of Analyst in 30 minutes, which means when we make a change, we can find out if anything broke in 30 minutes. So we can release multiple times a day without compromising quality.
The customer cares because instead of having the website down for all night while we try and figure out what terrible thing went wrong, they get to see those features come out more or less as soon as they are, and that's more of a continuous deployment. So instead of just making sure that your master's always good until you've got all these features packed in and then do a giant deploy, the continuous deployment part just means you're releasing each feature more or less is the ready to go.
Okay, what's your favorite farm animal?
Don't like chickens.
Farm animal?
Oh, man,
Favorite farm animal?
I've never been asked that.
I like cows.
Definitely cows, because they're easy to take care of.
The calf. Not just a cow. Calf.
Turkey.
Very original.
I had a friend that was a turkey. His name was Tom. The chickens killed him.
That's a hard one.
It's probably a goat. They're like dogs, but they're goats.
Cow.
And the little calf.
Probably the dog.
Who said dog? I want to know.
I wouldn't consider it.
He could be a farm animal.
It's more of a pet.
Platypus.
Very strange animal. It's actually just kind of comical.
Do cats count?
Hold her nose up and make her wink.
Actually, no, trout. Trout. If you farm trout. You farm trout.
Pig.
Cow.
And the little calf.
Probably a horse.
Horse, definitely.
They're simultaneously like the smartest and the dumbest animal on the farm.
Lamb. It's so tasty.
Probably a cow. It produces ribeye steaks.
I like a pig right now.
What a teacup pig.
Count?
I would say the pig.
Cows. Jersey cows. Jersey cow.
And the little calf.
Probably a dog.
You're wrong.
I think I'm gonna have to go with a cow.
And the little calf. And that is one of my favorite things in life right now.